Hello, this is Howie here with Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I'm on my way over to a community over here called Weber Falls, not too awful far away, and I'm going to get one of my feed trailers full of corn. This green one that I'm pulling behind me, I don't know if you can see it through the glass back there. I've showed it before, feeding out of it, and when I bought it last year, these little feed wagons come in real handy, and they hold, depending on what you get, this one's supposed to hold 3 tons of feed. I don't know if they'll be able to get that much corn in there, and the way it works is they harvest their corn over here. This guy has thousands of acres of corn, and they harvest it, and they have a machine they run it through that chops it up, pulverizes it, whatever you want to call it. We call it chops around here. I don't know if that's a proper term or not, but used to, when you raised hogs, if you fed them just straight corn, they would call it chops, and that meant that it was whole corn that was just chopped up. So anyway, for whatever that means, but the corn's cheap right now, and they grow a bunch of it here close by. So what I usually do, I'll have one of my feed wagons filled up with corn, and I will fill the other feed wagon up with this mix you've probably seen me feeding. It's like a 3, 4, 5 way mix. And anyway, these little trailers, they're a little bit expensive to buy. This trailer here was about $3,000, but it should last me for years. I used it last winter, and I've used it all summer long. I feed just a little bit. And in case you're wondering, this corn I'm fixing to pick up, it is not gluten-free, or not gluten-free. It is not GMO-free. It is going to be GMO corn, and I wished I had a place here where I could get some that's not. But all the farmers over here are GMO, and even the ones that claim that they're not GMO, they really are. I believe probably are GMO around here. Now, I'm not talking about the whole country, but the reason for that is there's a guy over here that grows non-GMO soybeans, and he in the summer has some Hispanic type people come, and they work on his farm, and they hoe and get the weeds out and do all that stuff. He doesn't use Roundup, and he even uses a cultivator some, but they'll usually make a couple of passes through those. But they're supposed to be non-GMO. The problem is all the way around his farm is GMO planted soybeans. They spray the Roundup on the ground, and I'm not real, I don't know, they've done it for years, and they're just getting more and more of it. Anything that's got a chemical sprayed on it, the less of that you could. Anything with a chemical couldn't be all that good for you. So the less chemicals you have, the better off you are, and that's with anything you grow in your garden or whatever is the way I feel about it. Maybe you have a different take, but anyway, I just feed it. I wish there was an alternative, but I know that his crops are getting cross-pollinated with GMO stuff, although he does not spray his fields with Roundup, so that would be a good thing. But all that I've ever seen the man grow is soybeans, and I don't want soybeans, I want corn. So we're going to go over here and buy this corn. It's cheaper over here because it's local. I don't have to go through a middleman or anything, and the people are real nice that I buy it from. So I'll try to show you some videos of doing this today and how things work. If you got cattle, a lot of people don't feed their cattle any grain, any supplement, and that's fine. My hay that I have to feed, I've never actually sent it off and had it tested, and I need to. That's real important. But I think at your hay quality, if you had a good high protein hay, and some people around here send theirs off, and they're actually surprised at how good the sampling of hay is. And excuse me, but anyway, mine I've never had sampled, but I feel like it's probably not good enough to be without, and my cows have been used to being supplemented with grain in the wintertime. Some folks around here, even that have good hay, they still supplement their cows with grain. In fact, most ranchers around here feed their cows some grain. One thing's because grain here is cheap, or cheaper. Now, if you're in certain parts of the country, it's probably not so much, but here, you know, we're relatively inexpensive, but with the cost of cattle right now, really, if you could get by without anything, any kind of supplementation, or if you could even get by with feeding them very little hay, and there are programs to help you develop your soil and your property and figure out how many carrying capacity you have. But here, we've always fed hay. That's because Grandpa always fed hay. That doesn't mean it's right to do it. I understand that part, but we are kind of in a quandary here of needing to feed hay, we feel like, when the grass goes to getting thin. We have about 3 months, about a 90-day period that I feed grain and hay, and that's a much shorter period than we used to have. And I think I keep shortening that period. This year was about the longest I've ever gone through without even feeding any hay at all, and then I've just started recently feeding grain. So anyway, I usually feed grain about 3 months and hay about 3 months, and we'll see how that goes this year. I kind of keep track each year to see if I can get it shorter and shorter and still keep my cows looking good. And that's the main thing. I want my cattle to have plenty to eat, and I don't want to starve it out of them. I know some of the ranchers around here, they starve it out of them. I mean, they'll be skeletons by spring, and they like that, and they, you know, then they complain that their cows won't breed back and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I appreciate you watching, and we'll go here and see if we can get some grain. This land here all got flooded back earlier in the spring. You probably heard about it on the news. The Lock and Dam 16's up here by where we live, just upstream here. But most all of this land around here was flooded out in pretty bad situation. Water was rushing through all this here. I just went over the bridge here at Weber Falls, and anyway, I'm coming in here to this grain elevator. This isn't where I get the grain at, but you have to pull up here and get weighed, and so I got to stop in here and weigh my truck here, and then I'll go over there and get it filled up with that grain. Anyway, to open this thing, you pull this lid over like that. It's got a handle and a lid, and you can kind of tell up there at the top that lid lifts over. Then they put their auger, whichever one they use, in there and put the corn in there. Not sure which deal. I thought I used this over here last year, but I'm not sure. The guy's supposed to be here in a minute and tell me. Sure is a nice looking tractor there. Look at these big old bins. I'd like to have one of them full of corn. I'd feed my cows for quite a while with that. Bet they got some money in them grain bins. Well, they got me loaded up with corn and I'm headed out of here. I didn't get to show you my getting loaded up here. They had the corn already ground up this time and in some totes because they have their auger there in the way, loading up their grain bin, filling them back up right now with whole corn. They're harvesting corn big time right here right now. A lot of it already has been harvested, but they're in the process of harvesting it right now. So anyway, you couldn't get up there to where they usually get the corn at. They got a machine that will pulverize it, and they'll load you at the same time while it's pulverizing. But they had some totes with whole corn in them, and so they take a forklift and lift them up. But I had to help the guy line it up, the hole back up there. And then the whole thing that we do here is you get your vehicle weight over here at this elevator where I first pulled in. I weighed 6,920 pounds empty, and now my cart here is full, so we'll see how much I weigh now. We'll see how many tons we actually weigh this time. So anyway, we're headed over here, gonna figure that out, and it took a little bit longer to fill this time than it normally does, but that's fine. We just a little bit, they're so busy trying to harvest their soybeans and their corn and all that stuff. But it's kind of interesting over here getting to see all their big heavy equipment and how they operate and stuff. But I'm on my way back over here to the big time grain elevator, I call it, and there they will weigh me, and then they'll subtract, figure out the difference, and charge me by the ton for the corn. Hey, I appreciate you watching today. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, we'd greatly appreciate you subscribing. All of those that are subscribed and you watch us regularly, we certainly appreciate all the views and all of our subscribers. And if you got a comment or a question, just feel free to put it there in the comments, and we'll try to respond the best we can. Hey, God bless you. We're gone.